right now, I want to hand it off to Angela and Layla, who have done a fantastic job at putting together some materials for our phase two in helping agencies implement AI governance. So, with that, I think we can move to the next slide, and I'll pass it off to them to walk through a step-by-step guide on building out AI governance in your agency.
Awesome. Thank you, Albert. So Angela and I are going to take the next 10 to 15 minutes or so to walk you all through step by step how you can start to actually use our coalition's policy templates and deliverables if you haven't already begun to do so. I think especially if you're new to the coalition or you've been around for a while, but you've mostly been participating in the working groups and haven't had a chance to dig into all the deliverables, a lot of this work can sometimes feel overwhelming because there's a lot going on. And so our goal today is to make it really clear how you can start to use our resources and also who in your agency should be involved at each step of that process. So all of the steps that we'll be walking through today, actually, you can find them after this meeting as well in our new quick start guide. It's a quick 2-page document that you can access using that QR code on the screen, but it's going to include all the steps that Angela and I will walk through today. Cool. So we can go to the next slide, please. So the best way to get started in using our deliverables is to read the deliverables guide. This was released in March alongside the deliverables and the open letter. It's a relatively brief and I would say succinct document that is really going to help orient you to everything that we have going on. And for each policy template in this guide, there's a one-pager that first it explains the purpose of the document. And then secondly, it explains how you can actually use it and who we think should be involved in the use of that document. So again, you can access this deliverables guide either on our website or by using the QR code on the right-hand side of the screen. And as you're going through this guide, if you're reading it and you're like, man, I wish I had a little more detail on each of these documents, then you're in luck because our lovely interim board members, they very kindly recorded video tutorials of each of our policy templates. So you can actually find those tutorials on the Coalition's YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. But huge thank you to our board members who took the time to make those wonderful videos for us. They're really great, super helpful, and they go basically line by line of each of our deliverables and how you can use them. So that's the first step. And with that, I'll pass it to Angela.
Thank you, Layla. So our next step is to determine your core AI team. We don't anticipate this to be a huge lift since people are already adapting and getting up to speed with AI as part of their job. And GovAI's materials are here to help structure and guide the process. So to build the team, we've identified 5 key roles, and they are cybersecurity, legal, purchasing, technology leadership, and an AI expert. We want to be clear here that the AI expert doesn't need to be someone who's already familiar with AI or has a technical background. They just need to be someone who's willing to get up to speed. And we have had folks from all backgrounds volunteer to be the AI expert for their agency. Please keep in mind that multiple roles can be filled by the same person and that these roles can be filled entirely by existing staff. So for example, you might have someone from the cybersecurity team fill the cybersecurity role, the technology leadership role, as well as the AI expert role. The quick start guide includes several steps for becoming the AI expert. This mostly means getting up to speed with what AI is, becoming familiar with the tools, participating in the adoption committee to learn with other agencies across the country, and participating with the use cases committee. And then these duties can also be split among multiple people. So you can have some members of your team go to the use cases committee and then some members go to the adoption committee so that it's not on only the AI expert to go to these meetings. Sorry, and I think we have lost the slide deck actually. 1 second, let me see. Sorry everyone about this. I think I can share screen very quickly or okay, awesome. Thank you, Chelsea. So For example, you might not even need people from existing roles to become the AI expert. So for example, someone, say like a data analyst in the Parks and Rec department who has a really strong interest in AI can also become the AI expert for your agency. Passing it back to Layla.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela. So once you've assembled that AI dream team that Angela was just talking about, you're going to want to start discussing the AI policy for your agency. So the AI policy is that high-level agency-wide approach that essentially lays out how your organization is going to be, one, using, and two, governing AI at that high strategic level. So at this stage, we recommend you involving the CIO or the equivalent in your organization, and any other relevant executive stakeholders. And I'll say here that it's really important, we've found, for everyone to be aligned on the AI policy early on, because it's going to impact all of the downstream AI governance activities that you'll be doing. And so without an AI policy or without alignment on that policy, it's going to be really difficult for your governance activities to be coordinated with each other. So we recommend that this is the first document that you start to tackle within your agency. And I'll call out really quickly, one of the important sections in this policy template is the responsible AI principles. And in the coalition's template, we've included principles like transparency, accuracy of the AI system, and equity. But depending on your organization's specific values, you might want to add some additional principles there, or maybe even edit or remove some of what's in the template already. So just wanted to call that out. And another important section is the prohibited uses section. So this is explicitly really calling out specific uses of AI that your agency deems to be unacceptable, and therefore is going to be prohibiting the use of that use case. And so I'm going to pass it back to Angela to say a little bit more about the prohibited uses section.
Thank you, Layla. So we really want to emphasize that it's important to align the departments in your agency on the use of AI before finalizing the prohibited uses section, because we want to ensure that this section doesn't cover existing or future use cases that are approved by your departments or the agency as a whole. So for example, if your public safety departments uses automated license plate readers and the agency does continue on using them in the future, we just want to make sure that those systems aren't in the prohibited uses section. We have included a draft email in the quick start guide, and you can see this draft email on the slide here so that you can copy and paste to send the inquiry to relevant departments. And I'll pass it back to Layla to speak more about the additional templates that we have.
Cool. So once you have your AI policy squared away with leadership, the next step that we see is to start circulating the other policy templates with your core AI team and to get their approval. So for example, for the AI fact sheet and the vendor agreement, those documents are very important to the procurement process and working with vendors. But before you start to actually implement those documents, you should definitely run them by your legal team and your procurement team to reconcile them with any existing procurement processes or legal language that's already in place at your agency, just to make sure that there's nothing that will be conflicting there. You'll also want to make sure that your AI expert is pretty fluent in the AI policy manual and the use case guides. So starting with the manual, that is a 20 to 30 page document that goes into pretty great detail on how to actually implement the high-level AI policy that I was just talking about a few steps ago. And so this manual includes, like a step-by-step how to actually do a risk analysis of an AI system, how to conduct a procurement review of a new AI tool. So this is a really critical document for practitioners who are carrying out AI governance in the field. And in addition to the manual, the AI expert will also need to be well-versed with the use case guides. So the use case guides are really helpful for documenting and thinking through just like a whole range of considerations around different AI use cases. So things including project planning, which stakeholders to involve, and risks that are specific to that particular use case. And so the use case guides will help you in thinking about all of those different things. And actually, the use case committee is releasing 6, I believe, new completed use case guides, which is amazing. And they'll be sharing more about that in their committee update a little later in this meeting. And then finally on this slide, we recommend making sure that your cybersecurity team reviews the AI incident response plan. So this document is intended to address new AI incidents that agencies might be starting to see. So maybe the system is like malfunctioning randomly for some reason, or it's starting to exhibit bias when the training data was updated. Those are some examples of types of AI incidents. And just make sure that this AI incident response plan is playing well with any existing response plans that your agency might have for like cybersecurity incidents or privacy incidents. All right, back to you, Angela.
Thank you. And then just to make sure that everyone is aligned, we recommend having a regular meeting, coordinated by the AI expert to convene all stakeholders to think about this on a regular basis. We want to ensure that we have both the core AI team as well as department leads, especially leads in business-facing roles, to provide updates on their AI use cases and align on AI governance for specific use cases. So this would be a great time to bring up additional concerns or considerations from cybersecurity or legal about potential uses or use cases that are already being used. These meetings don't have to be frequent, they just have to be regular. So at San Jose, we have these meetings once every 3 months. And the AI policy manual also has additional instructions on how to set up a working group, which is just more reason to go through the policy manual. Back to you, Layla.
Thanks, Angela. Next slide. Perfect. So once your agency has adopted an AI policy, we would love it if you could share that with the rest of the coalition, in addition to your experience going through this whole process. But to share the policy, you can go into our shared team space, go to the policy committee folder, and I believe there's a subfolder in there that you can upload your agency's AI policy into. This is going to be really, really helpful for agencies who haven't gotten to that stage yet. They don't have an AI policy. They can see what's being adopted in other agencies, what's working, what isn't, and what might work for them. Next slide. Okay, so we hope this was helpful. And as a reminder, we have that quick start guide that you can access using that QR code in the corner if you want to reference this material again. It's also just on our website. And actually, we'll be having a follow-up Q&A session on all of this material, since unfortunately we don't have time during this meeting to answer any questions. That session is going to be on July 9th. At 9:30 a.m. Pacific. We'll be sending out all the meeting details, a Zoom link after this meeting today, but that's going to be the time to share any questions or feedback with us on all this material. But real quick in closing, if you're ever in a position where you're feeling stuck with all this AI stuff, or you have a specific question about this one governance thing that you're experiencing, stop by the Adoption Support Committee. This is one of our committees that functions basically like office hour sessions, where folks can come in, share what they're experiencing, any issues they're facing, and we try to problem solve or at least be helpful as much as we can as a group. And actually, there's a bunch of different meetings within this committee organized by topic. So there's a working group on privacy issues, there's a working group on education, there's one on what all this AI policy stuff looks like specifically for smaller towns who might require maybe slightly modified versions of all these templates. So check out our public calendar for all those meeting times and just drop in whenever you want. But as always, reach out to us if you have any questions. We're more than happy to help. And hope this presentation was helpful. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Albert.